Hello everyone, and welcome back, and thank you for joining us. I hope everybody had a beautiful holiday and a wonderful, wonderful start to this amazing new year of 2019. So many amazing things ahead. I'm so excited about it. So today's session is a little glimpse into understanding the concept of dimensions a little bit better, and it was really interesting what came through. So I hope that you enjoy this as much as we did. Hello everyone. So really quickly before we get into today's transmission, we just wanted to remind you that all channeling is limited to the lens of the channel, the life experience of the channel, and the vocabulary of the channel. So when you're channeling higher guidance, they have to use what you have sort of in your data bank to be able to bring stuff through. So keep that in mind when you're listening to any channeling at all, and always take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And also really quickly, I'd like to touch on how Dianne gets her information. So she channels information and she speaks on behalf of the beings that would like to speak and have messages for to share. And then she also is shown images clairvoyantly, which she discusses and interprets for us. So she sort of bounces back and forth between the two. So, okay, thank you so much, and we'll get right into today's session. Okay, so something that I think would be really beneficial to get some more clarity about is the concept of dimensions. Right now we're in the third dimension, / fourth, I guess I have heard, and that we are going to be moving into the fifth dimension. And it would be wonderful if we were able to get some more information about what that means, and sort of a little bit more understanding about that. An example would be, like, let's say the homes that we live in. Will those homes still exist in the fifth dimension? Sort of just questions along those lines. So if there's any insight that they would like to give us on this subject of dimensions, and then we can ask questions and sort of expand after their opening remarks.
What we're going to say is, as many of you are aware and know and have read much about, there are different dimensions. There are different levels of dimensions. Dimensions, everything, again, is energy. Everything is created from energy. Everything moves with energy. So as we see it, the planet of Earth is shifting, is going through a shift and a change, and it's moving. It's moving, and as many have noticed over the years, time is speeding up. Time seems to be going faster. People are saying all the time, wow, time is going so quickly. The days are going by, the weeks are going by, the years are going by much quicker, it seems. And many people want to say, oh, that's just because the older you get in your third dimensional world, the faster time seems to go. But that is not the answer. That is the most correct answer. The answer to that is yes, time is shifting, time is changing, time is speeding up as the planet is moving into another time shift, a time change, a timeline. So time changes. The time on your planet is an illusion, so to speak. There is no such real thing as time. Time was made up for stability on your planet. Time was something that created to make the people that live on the planet feel that there's stability in their again, their third dimensional world. So time was created. Time was man-made, so to speak, on the planet. So as the planet is shifting and moving into a higher frequency. Again, we speak of how the people have to also shift and change into a higher frequency to go along with that change. If you weren't changing, if your bodies weren't changing, and if you weren't shifting into a more of a light body, it would not work. You could not be existing in a higher dimension at a lower vibration. You have to change with the vibration of the planet. So that's what's happening physically. Along with the planet, the people on the planet are also shifting and changing with it. That being said, the question of dimensions, as we shift into other or higher dimensions, if you want to use that term, is interesting, and we want to say that there is no better or worse necessarily. So when we use the word higher, it doesn't necessarily mean it's better. It's different. It's transitional. It's changing, but it higher in your world, in the third dimensional world, higher has a connotation of being better than. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to use that term of higher dimension necessarily. We want to say a different dimension, the transitioning to another dimension, another time and space, so to speak. So it's just a time shift, an illusional time shift. So it's another place, and it has a higher vibration. It doesn't mean it's better than, but it is definitely higher vibrational. So that is the shift that's taking place. So it's changing the planet into a higher vibrational area, a place of being. With that, when you ask if things will be different as we see it, when the planet shifts into this other dimension, this other place, it's not as much of a physical change. It's more of a conscious change. Mm-hmm. So it's a
energetic change.
Exactly, it's energy. It's a shift in energy, a shift in consciousness. It won't be a physical shift. Houses won't just disappear. The planet will remain the planet. The planet will stay intact. The planet will be the planet. Everything on the planet will remain on the planet. You won't have just buildings just suddenly be gone, but it will be more of a shift of consciousness. And what that means is that as the consciousness of the planet raises, the consciousness of the people raise. When the consciousness of the people raise, it's going to put them in a different state of being. So it will be a matter of looking at things differently. It will be a matter of having a feeling of peacefulness, a feeling of the stress of the third dimension, the heaviness of the third dimension, the emotional feelings of the third dimension will definitely shift into something else, something lighter, something not so heavy and dark as it was in the third dimensional place. Mm-hmm. And as the shift happens, and it's going to be, again, we see it as not the jarring shift that could have happened, but it's going to be a more gradual change where it will be just as the consciousness raises, it's a feeling that will come over the people of just once everything is purged, once everything is gone, once everything is purged out, all the evil and all the negativity is purged out. That's being purged out now. Being in the third dimension is this purging. But as the planet is moving into this new place, all this purging is being done because it has to be let go. The planet has to let go of this dark negativity to be able to find its place in another level of dimension. So all that is being done to be able to get there, to lighten the load, so to speak, to lighten the load of the planet and to lighten the load of the individual. So this is what's been happening now, what people are feeling the heaviness of. The feeling of like the disassociation, so to speak, of what you're feeling, because you're moving. It is moving into another level of consciousness, which is going to be a lighter level of consciousness. that being said, the physicalness of the planet, as we see it, remains as it is. But it's an energy shift, a consciousness shift that's going to change the attitude of people, the knowingness of people, the being able to communicate, possibly without speaking. All the things that can happen that the third dimensional world couldn't handle. The vibration was not high enough to handle some of these things that a higher vibrational level can. So it will be starting, and the shift will be such that people may not even be aware that there was a shift. A gentle shift and a gentle change can make it a higher level of consciousness without people even being aware that there ever was another consciousness, that there was a lower form of consciousness. It will just be this smooth transition into a higher level of consciousness, which will just be there, and will just have a different knowing, a different attitude, a different feeling of, as we spoke before, the storm before the calm, and the calm before the storm. So this is the calm. The getting to another dimension is going to be the calm that comes over the planet. And it's also a cleansing of the planet. All the pollutions, all the negativity, all the evils that were put on the planet is going to be cleansed and cleared. It has to be. That has to be let go of before it can actually reach a higher level of vibration. So that is all being done. And when we get to the point of being at that higher level, that higher dimension, it is then ready. It will be ready. The people and the planet itself will be ready to accept that higher level of being. And the people will be much more open and accessible to tapping into their higher selves and to tapping into each other on a much higher level, to be able to communicate with each other on a much more spiritual level, instead of the anger and all the negative emotions that happen in the third dimensional level, which is a very dense, low level in comparison to, the other levels of dimensions that can be much more of a lightness of being.
Okay, yeah, that's very helpful to understand that. So, another question that I have in regards to this with the dimensions is, I have heard that there are going to be galactic mentors that are going to be coming down and helping us eventually to make this shift into the fifth density or dimension, whatever people choose to call it. Is this true? Is this something that we can look forward to? Is galactic mentors coming to help us learn how to live in the fifth density or dimension?
Yes, definitely. The plan is that the off-planet brothers and sisters that exist at this point in time, that actually are also on the planet now, are going to be, there is going to be a time when the consciousness of the planet and the people will be ready to open up to this new world to them. It will be a very smooth and gracious and very pleasant transition. And when the people are ready, when the level of the consciousness of the people are to that point of a majority, have raised their consciousness to the point of being able to accept that reality, that a new reality to them, will be the time when the space brothers and sisters will join together, and it will be, as you speak of, mentors and teachers and trainers, and it will be really a whole new experience for the beings of Earth to be able to accept and appreciate and gain knowledge from those that are from other places that have the great knowledge, a greater knowledge than those that shifted from the third dimensional earth to the fifth dimensional earth. So there will be that time period where there will be individuals that will be they're also they're showing me and saying that there will be a group of people that will be gathered together, that will be, we're calling them the greeters, that will be greeting those that will come from other places. So there will be a core group of people that will be the greeters, that will meet these people from other places, other planets, and will be the go-between, so to speak, the interim, the coordinator to meet and greet, and then introduce then to the rest of the people, who will then be ready and willing to open up to the new beings, to their new brothers and sisters to meet. They will be of the highest light. They are making sure that those that come in will be of the highest light and of the highest good, to be of help and be of assistance to those that are just learning. Third dimensional world is moving and becoming a different level, a different vibration. But it's still, there's still many dimensions and higher levels above that. So there will always be those that are much more have much more of greater understanding and a greater intelligence. So they will be the ones to come in and be able to just open up a whole new world to those that have shifted into the new place, their new home, so to speak.
That's exciting.
Yes, it's going to be a wonderful time. And again, as we say, it's the calm. That will be the calm. That will be a world that people can't even imagine what it will be like. And again, in the third dimensional world, it's hard to imagine such a place can exist for them in this lifetime, but it can and it will. This is why many have chosen to be here at this time, is to experience this shift, this huge shift. Imagine this huge shift from third dimensional beings, the heaviness and the evil and the anger and so many negative emotions, to be able to shift and see and feel the difference of shifting into a dimension that you don't need to feel that anymore, that it just goes away, that it doesn't need to exist. And you may say, well, do we forget everything? Do we forget the third? No, you, as we see it, you don't forget. You will not forget, where you came from. You will not forget that. But it will just be the shift in consciousness that everything will make more sense. Everything will look different. Everything will be just much calmer and have much more of an understanding of each other, and everybody will connect. It will be this big connection. As we say, everybody's connected. We just don't know that. In the third dimensional world, that is not something that is as understood or felt on such a high level as when you shift into that new dimension. It is going to come from the heart. It's going to be very, very much felt.
Harmonious.
Absolutely harmonious, joyful, all the positive emotions will be so much stronger than any of those negative emotions. We're going from negative third dimensional emotions to positive, light being, happy and joyful emotions on the fifth dimension. So it's just that great shift. It's going to be that great shift, and it will just be that feeling. And again, as we spoke of this wave of the planet and the energy that's coming on the planet and the solar flares that are coming from the sun, all those things are making the shift happen, of making a gradual way of making people of the planet feel the difference, feel the shift, feel a change. Some people on the planet, in the third dimensional world, have felt this shift already. They're feeling the shift. There's some people who are sensitive to it and are feeling the shift already, and they're already we want to say making plans for that future, understanding where they're going and understanding what this means. So they're already doing that. Others are at a different level and are just going to be learning at another pace. So everybody's at a different level of learning and of growing, but it is affecting everybody in one way or the other. already at this point in time. So this is where we show the chaoticness and the turmoil and the stress of what's going on, because everybody's at a different level learning, of growing, of understanding. So again, getting through that, getting to that fifth dimension, being there, and suddenly then having the consciousness of the planet and the consciousness of the people be ready to accept, being of the higher vibration, to be able to accept all that is being given to them, and all the changes that have happened already. We can also say, as far as timelines and time shifts, there is no past, present, or future. It's all happening at one time, and that's might be a difficult concept to understand, but everything is happening at one time. So all this really is happening and has happened. It's just a matter of catching up to what has already happened. It's catching up. It's getting there. It's actually just being changing in that shift of timeline and of consciousness through the timeline that will get you to the place of where you really already are.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you for that.
Right, but you physically have to go through what is going through right now, what is happening right now. You physically have to get through that to get to that place, to, as we see it, catch up to the rest of it.
And that's kind of interesting, and that must be sort of how we're able to have prophecies and things like that. Because if everything is kind of happening simultaneously, then there are people who have been able to tap into that and sort of foresee it.
That is correct. That is correct. There are those that can see the future or see what has already happened. Tapping into that energy, again, it's all energy. So tapping into that energy, as you say, creates that knowledge. To be open up to that knowledge of what already is. What already is there. And it's possible. It's very possible to do that.
Very interesting. Are there any other remarks or information that you would like to give us on this?
And we just want to say, as we've also said before, that people and even the planet have free will. So we speak of what we see and what we know, and we are not universally allowed to interfere with free will. So it is the consciousness of the people, the free will, to have the raising of the consciousness of the people, to have these shifts happen, to have these things happen. So again, we speak of what we know at the time, of what we see at the time, but with the free willingness of the people, the people themselves have to make the shift happen. It's not being done for them. They're doing it for themselves. So it's a matter of allowing the people to be able to do this on their own time frame, on their own level of their own consciousness. And again, we say the more people that unite in consciousness and raise their consciousness, the quicker all this can happen. And the stronger it will be, the more that start getting on the same page, so to speak, will just make this happen quicker and easier and more smoothly. So it is not something that is just a given. It is not something that is a this is we're not making this happen. The consciousness of the planet, the people, are making this happen.
That's very important. Yes, that's very important. So we can use our free will to make this happen faster or slower, I guess, by being willing to do the personal work or not.
Correct. And getting through this turmoil, getting through this to the lighter side of things, to the more joyful side of things. But this all is planned, and everything happening is taking place. There are many who are fighting this fight, as we spoke of, and are working at this to make this shift happen, to make this change happen. The consciousness, it's time. The consciousness of the planet is there. It's time now to make the consciousness of the people also be there.
Okay, cool. Well, Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. And again, we thank all of you for sharing this information with us, and you sharing it with others, and just allowing, again, this information to resonate as it will, when it will. It's information is always freely given. It's a matter of how you take it in, when you take it in, and what you want to take in. That's again free will.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All right. Well, that wraps up our session for today. Please don't forget to send us your questions that you might want answered in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe.